Welcome to Firm, folks. A special edition here as we talk about Maine dams and their economic impact around the state. But starting here in central Maine, the greater Waterville area. A recent economic and fiscal impact analysis presentation was made to the Maine Chamber of Commerce and several attendees on Kennebec River dams. We have a presentation forthcoming from Sean Wallace, Vice President of Research, Development, and Sustainability from the Sappi Mill in Hinckley, which is halfway between Waterville and Skowhegan, towns north of Augusta, the state capital. This was on April 6th, and this special program that we're presenting at this time, folks, deals with water quality throughout Maine, but presents a more specific focus on one of our longest running and productive paper mills, Sappi, Hinckley operations of North America. A special report, as we said, given recently by the North America Vice President of Research and Development, Sean Wallace, at the Chamber gathering, gave a rundown and an update on how the water power of the Kennebec River near the Shawmut Dam facility outside of Fairfield, just north of Waterville, helps many communities and businesses, and what's being done by Sappi North America's mill operation for the future. Here's that presentation.
We estimate for every job that we have at the mill that adds an additional 5 to 8 additional jobs in the local community. Our spend in services and materials in the state of Maine is about $350 million, with about over $100 million in the wood products sector. And of course, we pay millions of dollars in taxes to the local communities in which we operate. So I think it's clear that any potential impact to the Somerset mill would have a devastating impact to Sappi, our employees, our suppliers, and certainly the local community. So before I get into the specifics of why the Shawmut Dam is so important, I thought it would be helpful to address a couple misnomers that I've heard from the community as I've tried to educate people on the importance of the Shawmut Dam. First of all, the Somerset mill is not reliant on the hydroelectricity that is generated by the Shawmut Dam. So we have the capability to produce all of our own electricity if we need to. And when we do buy electricity, we buy it directly from CMP. When we generate electricity, over 80% of the electricity that we generate is through renewable resources, bark, biomass, that sort of thing. So certainly we're always looking for ways to increase our renewable resources, and certainly we'd be disappointed to see reduced hydroelectricity in the state of Maine. Our understanding is the 4 dams on the lower Kennebec River contribute to about 8% of the hydroelectricity that's generated in the state of Maine. And certainly as a residential consumer and as a business leader, I'm really concerned about electricity prices and how they've increased over the last several years. But at the end of the day, the Somerset mill isn't reliant on the hydroelectricity that's generated by the dam. Secondly, and Brookfield can tell you a lot more about how the dam operates than I can, but it's a run-of-the-river facility. So the amount of water that's going to flow past the Somerset mill isn't going to change whether the dam's there or not. So that isn't really an issue for us. There's plenty of water there. To put it in perspective, we use less than 10% of the total flow of the Kennebec River, and we return over 90% of the water that we borrow from the river. So there's certainly plenty of water there, and not an issue for us. Really, the issue for us is depicted in this picture that you see here. We really rely on what we call the impoundment or pond that's created by the dam for us to both extensive modeling based on years of historical river data. And if the dam were to be removed, the level of that impoundment is going to drop 15 to 20 feet. And you can see this is a cross-section of the river. This is looking downstream. So the mill's on the right-hand side. And you can see where our water intake pipe is. If the dam were to be removed, you can see that the new river level would be 8 feet below our existing intake, and therefore making our existing equipment inoperable. Unfortunately, this isn't a simple fix. It's not a simple plumbing problem. You just can't extend the pipe. It's much more complicated than that. You can see that now the challenge is how do we withdraw water from that new river level if the dam were to be removed, which is only going to be about 4 to 6 feet in depth. And certainly, a couple additional challenges is the ice that's formed in the winter months. And then certainly even today with the impoundment in the spring months, we are really challenged with river silt and debris that comes down the river. Of course, after we remove water from the river, we run it through a filter plant because we have to screen out all that debris before it can be used in the paper making process. So unfortunately, water is essential to the paper making process. Without water, we cannot operate. So we need to find a way to continue to bring water to the mill. We have spent considerable time and engineering dollars trying to develop a technical solution. And up to this point, we haven't identified a proven solution for this lower river level.
How many gallons do you go through a day?
We go through about 30 million gallons of water per day. So, and certainly this is our flagship mill for Sappi, not only here in North America, but globally. And certainly, we're not going to risk our flagship mill for an experimental solution. So therefore, we believe it's really, really critical that we maintain this impoundment for the long-term viability of the mill. We estimate for every job that we have.
And we do thank Sean Wallace for that presentation, folks, from his Sappi North America operations there, which is not that far up the road from Waterville. And as we move along here to make a final piece of information to show to you here, this presentation was set up by the Mid-Maine Chamber of Commerce that services many towns in Greater Waterville. And as we have it right here, folks, we're going to put this up for you so you can see at least what the project is all about. And we will make that a little bit easier for you to see here in just a couple of moments. We thank you for joining us about a presentation recently for Maine dams and its economic impact just about everywhere. As we finish up the program, folks, basically what we're looking at here is the Brookfield Renewable Company owns and operates several dams throughout the state of Maine. 4 of those in Weston, Shawmut, Hydro Kennebec, and Lockwood. And they're located on the lower section of the Kennebec River. As we continue reading on it here, but what we will do is show it to you on a map as well. So here that is, coming right up, so you have a better idea of where in the heck we're talking about. Okay. We will make that a little bit closer for you there, folks, so you can see exactly what we're talking about in this final segment of the program. So looking here at the state of Maine, we have over here the two counties involved pretty much as far as Sappi fine paper and the North American mill in Hinckley is concerned. The lower part here you see is Kennebec County, the smaller county, and the longer one is Somerset County. Sappi Mill is located in Somerset County, but it affects a lot more than just that, as we mentioned here. Weston, Shawmut, Hydro-Kennebec, and Lockwood dams, so 4 dams altogether. So the dams provide critical support for paper mills and related facilities within the region, including several key employers and drivers of the industry for the state. And to better understand current contributions of the dams to the region and statewide economies, Camoin Associates, which is a link that we'll provide to you, are retained by the Mid-Maine Chamber of Commerce to conduct a third-party assessment of the collective economic impact of those 4 dams. And the state impacts as well are calculated based on the operations of the dams themselves and the key businesses that they support. Now, the study area that you see right here, folks, the one that shows the map a little bit better, the 4 dams examined in the analysis are Maine's Kennebec and Somerset counties, as we just mentioned. Brookfield organization as the dam operator, and regional paper mills have facilities in the towns of Benton, Clinton, Fairfield, Norridgewock, Skowhegan, Waterville, and Winslow. The analysis looks at the impacts of dam operations on the 2-county region and on the entire state of Maine. So there you have it, folks, the presentation and exactly what those dams are capable of providing as far as water power, not only to help Sappi fine paper in the mill, but also to provide long-term availability of water without having to have any more things to worry about in our current state of the state. As always, folks, tune us in anytime for any of our programs, other episodes like this one. We like to be educational and informative as well, folks. But right here, as always, you know, we're firm. Fairness in Reporting Media, Mark Merrill, the host here, at fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com, fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com. We are on YouTube, Twitter or X, and Substack. Stay safe, everyone. Safe travels. Peace to all.